Hi Engineering Janta, I am Vaibhav Shukla and today this is the second part of merge sort, and in this video you learn how merge function works. This is another video in the free DSA series that we are building for you so that you thrive high in your career. So before I dive in deep into the merge function and its working, go ahead, follow us on these social media handles so that you never miss a hiring update. Also, top 3 comments today get Prep Insta Prime subscription for free. So go ahead, comment below and stand a chance to win this free subscription. In the previous part, we studied how this function works, how the splitting happens. Okay. So what I'll do is, I'll try and make the same array. Okay, if I correctly remember, it has 7 elements and the first element was 11, then it was 3 if I'm not wrong, then it was 7, 8. So I'm just making it randomly. I hope it is same as the last time. If it's not, then also this is an unsorted array only. Don't worry about that. Fine. So let's write its indexes or the indices this time. So these are the indices for the given array. In this array, if you carefully see how the splitting is happening, we had seen last time. So after all the splitting happens, I'll start from here. 11 was one column, 3 was one split, 7, each element was individually split, right? And still their indexes were 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. These were the individual indices that we had. But when you see the last function, the last merge sort call that divided this particular subgroup or these two elements 11 and 3, what was happening there? In that case, 0 was the left index, mid was when these were together. Let's assume that particular place. See, 0 and 1 were their indexes, right? So 0 plus 1 upon 2 is still 0. Because in integer terms, when you try and check the integer for 1 by 2, you'll get 0 as the integer and 1 as the remainder, right? So here 0 is the mid value and the right value was 1, right? So in this case, when this split happened, mid was 0, left was also 0, fine. So when I merge it, what will happen? 0 would be the left, mid would again be 0 and right would be 1. And let's assume that this array that we are passing is still the A. Now what happens when we implement this merge function? Let's see. This is the place where merge is happening, and let me tell you, consider each of these elements as a separate array now. Okay, so consider this is one array, this is one array, this is one array. Every single element is an array itself. Okay, now when I go further with these values, what will happen is 0 would be passed here, 0 would be passed at mid, 1 would be passed at right, and array is where A would be passed, right? So this is array now. ARR would be the new name for the array that would be used in this merge function. What is happening here? Let's see. I, j and k are 3 integer elements or integer variables declared. N1 is nothing but the number of elements in the first array which is to be merged. First of all, just understand now these two arrays, one is this array, one is this array. Now I have to merge them together. Okay, and for merging them, I'll write this on a blank slide so that you have a ease in understanding. 7. So in this case, 0 and 1 are the indices, let me tell you, and for these indices here n1 is mid minus left plus 1. Mid is 0, left is 0 plus 1. So n1 is nothing but 0 minus 0 plus 1, which is 1. n2, which is number of elements in second array. If you carefully see, in the first array we have just one element. This is first array, we have just one element. Okay, now in the second array also, right minus mid, right is 1, mid is 0, 1 minus 0, this is 1, fine. So again in the second array there is one element. Is it true? Yes, it is true. There is just one element in the second array as well. Why am I calling them as arrays? each of the element is now an array because we are merging these arrays. Okay. Now, you'll understand why am I calling them arrays, because when you further merge, you'll automatically get arrays where you'll be merging complex components, fine. You'll be merging multiple elements together. That is why I'm calling even the single elements as array. Now you declare two temporary arrays. One is L of N1, another is R of N2. What is happening here is L of N1 is nothing but a temporary array that you have created here. This is L of N1, okay, and this is R of N2. Fine. These are two temporary arrays. What you're trying to do here is you're trying to populate these arrays, or you're trying to fill these arrays with the elements that you had in the arrays to be merged. Basic बात क्या है? Simple बात. ये दो arrays merge करनी थी. Among these two arrays, you fill the elements of the first array in L of N1, which is one temporary array. You fill the elements of second in the second temporary array. As simple as that. ठीक है? तो what's happening here is एक ही element है इसमें फिलहाल because n1 is 1, तो capacity of this array is just 1. In this case here you store 11, here you store 3. ये function सिर्फ यही कर रहे हैं. These for loops are just for this only. They'll keep on storing these values. I and j initialized to 0, keep on storing these values whatever are present in the individual arrays. इतना ही काम है इनका, ठीक है? Now you have them in temporary arrays. Now I is equal to j. I is equal to 0, pardon, j is equal to 0. K equals to left. If you carefully see, left is 0. So K is nothing but 0 here. That is cool. That is fine. Now let's see the magic that is happening here. If you carefully see, I is 0, N1 is 1, J is 0, N2 is 1. So this particular condition is true. This loop should work. What is this loop saying? This loop is saying if L of 0, now let's see, this index is 0, this is also 0, fine, because they are having just one element, so 0 index. So if you don't understand how the index is 0, go ahead, watch the arrays video, fine. I have explained in detail how the indices of an array work, fine. This particular if block is saying if L of I, basically L of 0, which is nothing but 11, is less than or equal to R of j, which is again 0, which is nothing but 3. If this is true, then execute this if block. In this case, this is not true. This is false. This statement is false. 11 is always greater than 3 ना. अब 3 तो 11 से बड़ा होने नहीं लग जाएगा. तो in this case, what will happen here? This particular if block will not work. Else block will work. What else is saying? If you correctly remember, K is 0. Fine, K is 0 here. So what else is saying? Array of K equals to R of J, which basically means array of 0 is nothing but R of 0, because J is still 0, which means array of 0 equals to 3. Fine, array of 0 is 3. Now you increment J, J becomes 1 after this, and K also becomes 1 after this. So what is happening here? Let me tell you. Now let's say this is the merged array, okay? I'll have a merged array here. If you remember correctly, K was pointing here at the 0th index. At this place you filled with 3. Why so? Because 3 was R of 0. If you carefully see, this was R of 0, and here you have assigned R of 0 to array of 0. So this is array ARR, and for this on 0th index you put 3. Now after this you incremented K. So now K is pointing at this place at 1. K is 1 now, and J is also 1 now. Fine. Now if you carefully see, this element is filled, but this is not yet filled. So this is not yet merged completely, and our merge function hasn't completed yet. So let's see what's happening there. In this, after seeing the two arrays, there is a possibility that in one array the elements are left. So what will happen? We'll check for the first array, or the L of N1. While I is less than N1, I is still 0 because it was nowhere incremented, N1 is 1. So this will execute. When this executes, array of K, which is now 1, is L of I, which is L of 0, which is 11. So array of this 11 would be stored to array of 1. What am I saying basically? At this point, write 11. If you carefully see, I have merged these two and the magic of sorting has happened here, isn't it? The sorting that we were required to do, that we were trying to do this. If you have seen the first part, I have done this in the initial explanation. So this is how the magic happens. Okay. Now I go back and I check this portion. J is 1, N2 is 1. Fine. Is this true? No, it is false. So this will not work. As simple as that. And the execution of merge ends with this. Now, the merge is supposed to work for the next split. And what was the next split? This was the next split, if you correctly remember. For this, do the mathematics again. Let's try and do the dry run again so that you understand it fully. If you carefully see, for this merge, when I am merging these two, what will happen? Left and mid. Left is 2. Mid for this, 2 plus 3 by 2. In this case, mid would have been 2 only, because 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 when divided by 2 gives 2 as the quotient and 1 as the remainder. So 2 is what you get as mid, and right would have been 3. Both the values are 2. This is also 2, na? So if I go further, here I'll erase a few more things now, because all the values will change here. Let's check. 2 is the left, 2 is the mid, 3 is the right. In the same manner that we did earlier, for N1, if you carefully see, mid is 2, left is 2 plus 1, which means N1 is again 1, single element. N2, right minus mid, 3 minus 2, again 1. Fine. So in this similar fashion, L of N1 would be an array of one element with 0 index. R of N2 would again be array of one element with 0 index. And in these two, 2 and 3 are their index. These two would be stored. Fine. So 7 is stored here, 12 is stored here. In this case now, because these will execute and this assignment will happen where L of N1 will get stored with 7, R of N2 will get stored with 12. In this case, left is 2, right? So when I start doing the mathematics for this, now carefully see, when I go further and I'll erase all the ink on the slide again, N1 is actually 1, right? I is 0 again. Why I is 0? Because here I have set I as 0, J as 0. Fine. Now, in this case, if you see carefully, L of I, if smaller than R of J, what you have to do is array of K equals to L of I. Fine. So array of K is already pointing to array of 2 because K is 2. So if you see in this array, K is already pointing at this particular place. Fine. Now when it is pointing at this particular place, what is happening? This condition 7, right? If you correctly see, 7 is less than 12, R of 0, L of 0. L of 0 is less than R of 0, true. So 7 is less than 12, this is true, this will execute. So what will happen? Array of 2 will have L of I, which is L of 0. So this would be stored at array of K. Fine. Now, if you see carefully, this particular portion, this will not get stored because this is not getting executed. This is still left. Now I come, because I is incremented. Now I come further. I is incremented here. Fine. So when I is incremented, this particular block will not work because I is 1, N1 is also 1. But J is still 0, N2 is 1. This works. And when K was incremented here, now K had become 3. So K had incremented here, K was pointing at this place now, and now at this place you can store 12. Now if you carefully see, this portion is not yet sorted, but what has happened? 7 and 12 are like this only. Fine. So for this case, now when the merging happens in this case, 0, 1, 2 and 3, when the merging happens in this case, what will happen? How they will be merged? In the similar fashion, 5 and 4 would be merged and 8 would still be alone. We'll fix 8 as well, don't worry. So 4 and 5 are their indices and 6 is index of 8. Now when you try and merge these two, 0 is left, 3 is right, isn't it? So we'll do this math on the previous slides, then it would be very easy for you to understand, because now if you see here, it is still not sorted, but changes will happen here. So that is why I am saying that carefully see this. I'll erase all the ink on the slide, and when I go back and I show you how things are changing here. Now if you carefully see, left is 0, mid in these particular domains is still 1, because 0 plus 3 upon 2 gives 1 as the quotient and 2 as the remainder. So 1 is the mid and right becomes 3. So when I go further, 0 is passed here, 1 is passed here, 3 is passed here. Fine. What is N1 now? If you carefully see, mid minus left plus 1. So this is 2. This time the array which you will declare as L of N1 will have 2 elements, right, with 0 and 1 index. R of N2 will again have 2 elements with index 0 and 1. Fine. Now when I try and populate them, because N2 is nothing but 3 minus 1, na? This is 3 minus 1. So that's why R of N2 is of 2 elements. Fine. Now when I try and insert the elements into these two, what will I get? I'll get 3 and 11 here, 7 and 12 here. Now I have to merge these two arrays in such a manner that I get 3, 7, 11, 12, a sorted array. Okay. So how will I get it? I fix I as 0, j as 0, and in this case k is left, which basically means k is 0. K is starting from 0. Now when I go further, I is 0. I'll erase all the ink from this slide so that you can understand better. I is 0, N1 is 2, j is 0, N2 is 2, because I have fixed these values as 0 in the previous step. Now if L of I, which is L of 0, less than R of 0. Now if you carefully see, what is R of 0? 7. What is L of 0? 3. 3 is lesser than 7. This is true. So this should work. So array of 0 should have 3 at its place. Okay. So array of 0 is already having 3 here, and k has again started pointing at 0 because we had set k as left, and left in this case was 0. See, k was left, so k was 0, I told you. So k is again pointing from the start. And when I execute this particular block and array of 0 is equals to 3 now, this will increment I. So I becomes 0 plus 1 and I becomes as 1. Basically it is incremented. So this portion will not execute. This portion will not execute, but the functioning of loop is not yet stopped. Why am I saying so? Because k is getting incremented. Only the else block is not getting executed. Okay, only the else block is not getting executed, this much only. K is still getting incremented. So k becomes 1. Fine. So now k is pointing here and loop is not yet finished. Why loop is not yet finished? Because in this case, if you carefully see, I is 1 now, right? And j is still 0. J is not incremented. So still this condition stands true and still while can go on. in previous conditions, every time one of them became 1, 1 less than 1 is never true. So in the last executions, you could never perform a second repetition of this loop. But this time, I is 1, but n1 is 2. So still this condition is true. J is still 0, n2 is 2. So still this condition is true. And if I go further and check this condition now, L of 1. If you carefully see, what is L of 1? 11. Is it smaller than R of 0, which is nothing but 7? So is it true? No, it is not. This is false. So this time, this particular if block will not work. This will come out as false. And this time, this particular else will get executed, and basically, which is array of 1, because k was 1 now. So array of 1 is equals to R of 0. R of 0, if you see, is nothing but 7 here. This is R of 0. So I will put array of 1 as 7, and j would be incremented now. J becomes 1 here. Fine. So j is equal to 1 now, and I'll increment this as 1 for the next execution, and k becomes again incremented, so k becomes 2. So what is happening now is that at this particular portion, you have 7, and k is now incremented and pointing to the next element. Fine. This is now what's happening. Now I'll change this as well. I'll show you how. This loop is yet to come and perform. This loop is still not over. I'll erase all the ink. So basically, what last time happened was 1, 1, both of them, and 2 and 2 was the limit. Now it is still true. So the comparison of L of 1 and R of 1 would happen. Is it true in any sense? Let's see. So L of 1 is 11, R of 1 is 12. So 11 is lesser than 12. This is true. So this else block will not execute. If block would execute. K, since the last execution was 2, if you correctly remember, K, I'll write it here so that I can increment it here. So K was 2. So array of 2 becomes L of 1, which is nothing but 11. So here at this place where we had written 7, now comes 11. Okay, and this portion would increment I, so I becomes 2 now. Okay, I becomes 2. We'll see what changes will come. This else block doesn't execute, K gets incremented, so K starts pointing to 3 now. What has changed? This has changed. K is now pointing to this particular element. So if you carefully see, now this is sorted and this has been merged like this: 3, 7, 11, 12. Now I have shown you the magic happening in front of your eyes. Every single element was sorted in the merge function. How it happened, I have shown you. But if you carefully see, the 12 that we have left, this is from the earlier execution that I have written. This 12 is yet to be filled. Just consider that you have nothing here because this is yet to be filled with the merge. Merge has not yet completed its execution. So in this function, if you see, this while block is irrelevant now. Why? This condition is not true. Okay, not true. So when it is not true, this condition is false and while will not execute because this is an AND logic, and in AND logic both need to be true for loop to work. So this will not work. Now we check, are there any elements in the first? What basically I am saying is 2 less than 2? Is this condition true? No, it is not. False. So this will not execute because all the elements of L of n1 or the first array or this array have been incorporated, right? Only this 12 is left. We need to fill it. So in this case, J was still 1, n2 is 2. What will happen? Array of K is 3 here. So array of 3 becomes R of 1, which is nothing but array of 3 will become 12. R of 1 is 12. Why am I saying so? R of 1 is 12. Okay. So I assign the value, I increment j. Now j becomes 2 as well. So again this while will not execute, and k is also incremented and k becomes 4. Okay. So k starts pointing at this particular position. Now the same happens in their addition, 4, 5 and 8. Here also it will become 4, 5 and 8. But don't consider it to be sorted because this is still to be merged together. When you merge all of them, then this will get sorted in a bigger picture and a lot of elements would change. And what will happen? The magic will still go on in the similar fashion, and 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 11 and 12. This would be your final array that you would be getting after the execution of these two merges. Fine. So all you need to do is do a dry run of it, and once you do the dry run of it, you will understand how the merge function is working. Why didn't I merge the last one? This is the easiest merge to do because 0 would be the index that can be said as left, fine, and 6 would be the right index, and for merging, if you say 0 plus 6 by 2, 3, this would be the mid value. So all you need to do is just put these values and try implementing. Okay, try implementing, pause this video here, try implementing this merge, and you will easily reach this conclusion, this sorted array, and that is how merge sort works completely. Okay, itna hi hai merge sort mein. There is nothing big in merge sort. Easy peasy algorithm, कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है, आसानी से सीखी जा सकती है. Now coming to the time complexity of this algorithm. So if I talk about the time complexity of merge sort, then it is order of n log n. Why is it so? Let me give you a hint. It is being split into halves and then it is being merged, right? It is being merged after that. So by splitting into halves, almost equal halves sometimes, sometimes not, but you're trying in partitioning it and then merging it together. So in that case, just think how logarithmic functions behave. That is a homework for you, and all you need to do is comment below this video that why the time complexity should be order of n log n. Okay, I'll answer in the comments, don't worry, but just tell me why it should be order of n log n. The answer I'm telling you that the time complexity is this only, order of n log n only for merge sort. Fine, you have to figure out what is the reason behind this and comment below. It will also give you a chance of standing in top 3 comments for winning the Prep Insta Prime subscription for free. So do not miss out on that part. Also, follow our social media handles so that you never miss a hiring update. And I told you about the top 3 comments. So just go grab that chance, fine, because that might lead somewhere in a gold mine, because Prime is actually a wonderful platform, believe me. So that will help you if you get that for free. So go ahead, try your chance, try your luck, and whoever is studying from this video, if you are benefited from this, go ahead, spread the knowledge to whoever needs it, your peers, your juniors, your seniors, whoever needs it, go ahead, spread the knowledge. Fine, keep doing good without any expectation. Universe will return that good back to you. That's all I have to say. Thank you. Have a good day.